Hola, buenos días. Soy Nico.
You just made that up. No,
And today, if you have not noticed, I am blonde. It's in between the platinum that I did last time and a honey brown. My mom essentially has like a similar color, or I thought it was going to be similar. My stylist told me it was going to warm up in a few days. But that's not why you're here. We're here to talk about something that we've talked about in the past, but now it's evolved because it's still an issue, but also the person that evolved backtracked because of the backlash that he got. But before we get started on the whole bottom shaming fiasco, if you like this kind of content, make sure to follow me on patreon.com/Nicosaesthetics for more exclusive lives, weekly videos, and to be a part of the podcast. Also, if you want the uncensored version of these videos, they are available on Patreon for as low as $3 a month. If that sounds interesting to you, make sure to go check it out, and also like, comment, and subscribe to help me with the algorithm. Nico, I have not slept in 24 hours. I'm here. I'm here, and I'm going to try to be as coherent as I can possibly be. But also, you need to check out the Patreon and do all that extracurricular stuff. But yes, let's get started. So, Khi Lavene and Alpha Ant dropped a scene. Nico, they're both alleged tops. Well, Khi Lavene is a verse performer now because originally he also had a video of him bottoming Leak. And it caused a backlash because prior to that leak, he was known as a total alpha top zaddy. You know what I mean? So after the leak happened and he received the initial backlash, he actually did a collab with Raheem Shabazz where he was the bottom. And a lot of people are upset because a lot of people have this narrow-minded vision of a lot of sexual performers that if they see them only topping, that's the only way they want to see them, especially if they have a certain masculinity about them. Even though Khi Lavene isn't like masculine whatsoever, so I didn't understand why there was like a huge backlash that he also bottoms sometimes. Nico, he be screaming with the girls on Big O. He is one of the girls. There's not a shot. I'm one of the girls too, Kai. I see you. But I didn't understand why he received so much backlash other than him selling the fantasy of being quote-unquote daddy, because his in real life persona was a stark contrast to the hypermasculinity that he exhibited in his videos. But moving on to Alpha Ant, I bring that up because it was a similar situation where they did a collab and Alpha Ant was bottoming for Khi Lavene. Prior to this, he was a total top, long zaddy. He never really bottomed on camera or did any butt play. So a lot of people were surprised and or turned off in the whole conversation of, oh, there are no more tops, and oh, my favorite top bottom, this is the worst day of my life. And a lot of people are like, why does that even matter? Because he wasn't going to have sex with you to begin with. That's why I never understood like bottom shaming, because at the end of the day, these people weren't going to have sex with you. I understand in the last video when we did discuss Khi Lavene, a lot of people were basically saying, well, it's because you're ruining the fantasy. You sold the fantasy that you were a total dom top. But at the end of the day, they are selling sex. So I don't understand the aversion to them selling sex in multiple facets. You know what I mean? But I bring that up for the sole purpose that when the backlash started, Alpha Ant basically went on this long-ass rant saying, that scene was leaked without my permission. I'm going to scrap the collab, and I was trying to ease into it and try something new, and blase, blase, blase. It's all been ruined. Khi Lavene, you ruined it, etc. And people went to Kai, and as someone who went through a bottom shaming / leak tape scenario, Khi Lavene quickly cleared that up and basically said, first and foremost, I'm gonna get my money because I spent $1,000 on plane tickets flying him here for this collab. And somebody went, oh, so you broke. And if you did not know, I believe the statistics were 75% and or 50% of Americans cannot afford a random $1,000, let's say, health bill or random fiasco happening in their lives that would not send them into financial turmoil. So to say, oh, you can't just waste $1,000 on a plane ticket for a collab, Ridiculous. That's the first thing I thought. I'm not a materialistic person, but calling somebody broke because they spent a lot of money on a possible collab and then somebody's trying to pull out after you all agreed upon it, you all signed the waivers, you filmed everything. Now they want to say, cut it out. But that's the thing. It wasn't that scenario where Kai posted it without permission, like Ant said, because Kai basically went further to say, no, first of all, you asked me for this bottoming collab. You wanted to get into bottoming. Second of all, I flew you out here on my own dime. So I spent a good chunk of money getting you out here for the scene. Third, I don't just post. I made 3 different previews. You greenlit all of them. I gave you 9 days after the collab so that you could take your time. And after you said, okay, you can post this one, I finally posted it. And then you made it seem like I just leaked this to be like a revenge type scenario. Because when this first broke and everybody was like, oh my God, Alpha Ant's bottoming, he really led it to believe that Khi Lavene was setting him up, like a public image assassination, when in reality, he was just upset about the backlash that he got for actually bottoming. At least that's how I see it. And that's the reason I'm choosing to believe Kai in this situation is for the sole purpose that he has been in the game for a good minute. Nico, Khi Lavene has been in the game for a good minute, and I've seen him arguing with the girls on Big O. I've seen him in the messy chats and going back and forth. I've never seen that man in no problem with his money. Nico, I've never seen that man in no problem with his financial situations and or collabs. So add on the fact that he actually had a scenario where a video of him bottoming leaked, and then he had to get the jump on it by actually doing a bottoming scene. I don't believe he would leak somebody's content like that. At the end of the day, that's a businessman. I have not actually met Khi Lavene in person, but just looking at how long he's been in the game and how no one has had any issues with his work ethic, him as a person, different conversation. His work ethic has never been brought into question. So that's why I'm like, it would make no sense for him to quote unquote leak this content. But at the same time, this shouldn't be a discussion because I don't understand why y'all are still bottom shaming. Nico, I'm versed usually in relationships. I personally don't care who knows that. And at the end of the day, I don't understand why knowing that somebody chooses to be versed and or enjoy sex in multiple facets bothers you. Because I've met bottoms that are like, ooh, I can never be with a top that's been top because you're a bottom, etc. And they basically say because you experimented sexually or because you're interested in doing this sometimes, you're a total bottom and it's a waste of their time. I've seen tops that try to turn verse men into strict bottoms. Nico, I've been through some wacky scenarios where men try to pursue me and then basically say, well, you got to be a bottom forever. And I say, absolutely not. So I've seen it on both sides of the spectrum. And I just feel like in 2023, we should not still be having this conversation because this has gotten to the point where y'all ruined a perfectly good work relationship because when a scene dropped that you should be ecstatic for to see some of your favorite performers in a different scenario, you started to shame them to try to make sure that they stay in this total top persona that you enjoy. Because personally, Alpha Ant isn't necessarily my bottom type just because he doesn't have a big booty. Nico, I am a big booty simp. I come on here and tell you that all the time. I'm a very honest and transparent person. But if he can get on camera, if he can enjoy himself and he can work it, I would love to see that kind of content. I feel like having a variety in your content and being open sexually makes you more appealing to me personally. So that's why I never understood the backlash of bottom shaming. But definitely drop your opinions down below. How do you feel about how this situation was handled where Kai basically said, I gave him 3 previews, he approved all 3, I waited 9 days after the collab, I flew him out on my own dime, and now he's trying to make it seem like I set him up. How do you feel about the reasoning behind that? How Alpha Ant threw him under the bus and basically said it wasn't done how I wanted because of the backlash. Because all this happened as soon as he got that backlash. But yes, definitely drop your opinions down below. And also, I'm sorry if some of these conversation points were a little strung out. I have insomnia and I have not slept in 24 hours and I have a flight at 8 a.m. So I'm just trying to get all my work done before I actually have to leave because I still gotta pack. But yes, That's a me problem because I'm a super bitch. But yes, definitely drop your opinions down below. Boom. And now for a quick yet sincere shout out to this week's Third Eye Tier subscribers, Big Baby 205 and Demetrius D. You are greatly appreciated and thank you for the continued support. As for this week's live stream conversation, it is unfortunately canceled because I will not have my equipment with me while traveling. But thank you for tuning in and I'll see you guys next week.